up, everyone, the company that's using smart technology to create a more sustainable future. That when Cheddar Innovates returns.
According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, up to 40% of the food supply goes directly to waste. Wow. So our next guest is creating an innovative solution to help reduce the waste we generate. BioHiTech offers a management system and analytics to change the way we think about food waste. Joining us now is Frank E. Celli, CEO of BioHiTech. Frank, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So how does your tech fight food waste?
Well, first and foremost, measuring food waste is important. Understanding the problem is the key to solving the problem. And most people who generate food waste, most businesses that generate food waste have really no idea how much food waste do they actually generate, because as you can imagine, in your kitchen trash bin, you throw banana peels and yogurt bins and whatnot, but you don't know how much you actually throw out. So at BioHiTech, we market a product that is a more efficient means of disposing of food waste, but probably more importantly, it's an onboard weighing system. It's the world's first smart disposal device. So as food is introduced to our unit, we measure it in real time. And we transmit that data via cloud on a mobile device or a desktop so that our customers can really measure and understand, hey, how much did I actually generate today? Where did it come from? What time did it originate? What employee might have been responsible for depositing it? So measurement is huge. From there, we do a really cool thing using science, biology, where after that food waste is deposited, we use naturally reoccurring bacteria that rapidly decompose the food waste. So we like to call it like a robotic digestive system. Turn it into a liquid that's safe to discharge down standard drains, kitchen drains. So no need for separation, no need for logistical costs associated with moving it, and certainly not any hauling and landfilling and whatnot. So we measure because first we want to prevent, and then secondly, we eliminate all the rest of what couldn't be prevented from ending up in a landfill.
So
it's kind of a cool solution.
That is a really cool solution, especially how you're able to liquefy that at the end.
It is, it's super
really
cool.
Now, you've recently partnered with Carnival Cruise Line to do this as well, to help them manage their food waste as well. So how is that going to work for them? Do they have one of these things on the cruise line?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we'll install not only one, but we'll install multiple units on each cruise ship. So depending on the class of ship, the size of ship, as you can imagine, cruises are notorious for lots of food, lots of drink, lots of fun, but not all that food gets consumed.
Right.
Today, it's got to get separated, it's got to be put in pails, it's got to be trekked from the Lido deck, for instance, down into the hull of the ship and stored and whatnot. That's pretty inefficient, right? So what we'll do is we'll install units in the galleys of the ships. So at the point of generation, the least distance we have to travel, the better, the more efficient. And instead of dragging these pails down to the hull of the ship, they'll deposit it in one of our units in the galley. We'll weigh it. They'll know where it came from. What time was it generated? Hey, did maybe one buffet generate more than another buffet or whatnot? So you can imagine that's pretty handy. And then we'll just use the sanitary sewer system on the ship to dispose of it.
So when you're on a cruise ship, you might be thinking about kind of the chemicals that are involved in a lot of processes. You use the word liquefy to liquefy the food waste. What is actually used to do that? And is it safe to
Well, it's very fun. I mean, it's as I mentioned, we think of it as a robotic digestive system. So it uses the exact same process your body uses to digest food.
So like hydrochloric acid?
No acid, no chemicals, no
Okay.
chemicals. No, it's naturally reoccurring bacteria.
Okay.
So these are living organisms that are used widely in the treatment of wastewater. So at wastewater treatment plants, one of the primary means of treating waste is actually with bacteria. It's a biological process. It starts the breakdown. So the bacteria that are inside our units are, number one, safe and naturally reoccurring. So no chemicals being discharged or whatnot. Number two, they work just like the enzymes in your stomach. So they focus on the proteins, the sugars, the starches, the fats, oils, and greases. They use them for energy. So they digest them. They generate heat through the digestion process. And the excrement, we'll call it, is a liquid that kind of looks like miso soup when it's done.
Right now, how is most food waste disposed and gotten rid of? I can only assume it's probably the landfill. And what are some of the problems with that?
It is, unfortunately. The overwhelming majority of waste in the United States ends up in landfills. So about 80% of all waste ends up in landfills. In the waste stream, 30 to 40% typically is made up of food. So, there are other solutions like composting, but composting, while it's great,
Takes time.
It takes time. You need to do it in areas where you can actually use compost 12 months a year, because we eat and we dispose of food 12 months a year. So in New York here, I don't know of anybody spreading compost in their gardens in February in the rain and snow.
Good point.
So a very small percentage of food, under like 5%, ends up being composted. There are other means of dealing with food waste. There are other technologies out there, dehydrators and whatnot, but for the most part, the bulk of it does unfortunately end up in a landfill.
We know a lot of businesses, almost every business it seems, wants to have more of a sustainability focus, be more friendly towards the environment. What are some of the benefits for businesses, whether it's from a branding perspective or just from a financial perspective, to using this technology?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every Fortune 500 company's got some sort of zero waste or sustainability goal and objective. Getting there is really difficult, because unfortunately in the US there are not a lot of solutions that are not landfill centric. So our customers are able to use our device, number one, and again, can't stress enough the value of understanding how big is your problem, right? What are we solving for? So we hope that by measuring, our customers are able to have that better transparency, and most importantly, make changes sort of to their own daily processes. So in other words, in your kitchen again, if you were throwing 6 little cartons of yogurt in the trash every week, if you knew that it was 6 cartons every week, you might buy 6 less when you went to the grocery store. So what does that mean? Number one, best solution to waste is not generating it.
So true.
Right? Number two, think about it. If we can save you from buying those 6 cartons of yogurt, that's pretty efficient from an economical standpoint, right?
So true.
So better procurement, better supply chain management, that's pinnacle. After that, typically because you use our unit and it's sort of a fixed cost and you don't have all those logistical costs associated with it, we're going to be more cost effective anyway. So after we've made you as efficient as you can be in, we'll call the front of the house, in the back of the house, we're a more economically sound solution, certainly more environmentally sound, because no trucks, no transportation, no diesel fuel, no landfill.
Makes sense. That's Frank E. Celli, CEO of BioHiTech. Frank, thanks again for your time.
Thanks for having me.